Welcome to another yap session while we cut down trees. I have a couple of stories I want to tell you guys, so, pull up your games, settle down, and yeah, let's hang out. But last December, I went through my first ever surgery, which was wisdom teeth removal. And it actually was quite scary because it was my first real experience being sedated, which is just a terrifying thought to me. You're just literally giving your body to someone else and you're not even there. It's kind of a horrifying thought, right? And it actually started, I was at college and man, that was a rough year. Last year at school, that was very rough. I just started having this horrible toothache. It was terrible, and I don't quite remember what all was going on at the time because it was a lot, but I just remember I was at a club meeting and I had to leave and I was just sobbing in the bathroom. And yeah, anyways, I called my dad. And the toothache is getting pretty serious at this point. And this is actually the only time I've ever called my dad to come pick me up from anything. He drove down that same night the whole 2 hours to my city, picked me up, and took me home and brought me to the dentist right first thing in the morning. So thank you, Dad. And there, they learned I had an abscess bubble back on my gums because my wisdom teeth were coming in and I needed to get them removed. And I'm actually someone who has a lot of space in their mouth. I have a gap, which any of you who have watched my, horror playthroughs would know because I always have face cam with horror. And so I was actually hoping that they would just come in and be fine. There would be no impaction. I have naturally straighter teeth. Was that a zombie? Maybe I'm tripping. I was just hoping I wasn't gonna have to go through that, but they took an x-ray and actually 2 of my wisdom teeth were just gonna come in basically fine. The other one, there was one that hadn't quite made its way in yet, and then there was one that was coming in, but it looks like it might get caught and then become impacted. And I don't know, I was so terrified. I used to be, this was barely a year ago, but I feel even in just a year I've become way less anxious. And because it was such a hard year at college and I was dealing with so much, I think I just was a lot more anxious that school year. And it was scaring me so bad. My dad was it's gotta be done. We're gonna do it. Okay. And it's a horrible experience around too, because if you live in the US, you don't have great health insurance. Wisdom teeth removal is $2,000. Okay, so if you think Americans are dumb for having debt, well, it's because you have to take out debt for stupid crap like that. So anyways, so yeah, I'm paying a crap ton of money just to get operated on. It's so scary, but they schedule it 2 months out. I finish my semester of college. And they give me this mouthwash stuff that is freaking nasty, bro. It's so bad. I still remember the taste of it. But even with that, I am the perfect, I don't even know what I'd be called. Patient, I guess. I wash my mouth with this religiously. I floss, I brush, perfect dental everything for the 2 weeks leading up to the surgery, just like they told me. I think I actually started it early with a different mouthwash because they only gave me so much of the one antiseptic mouthwash. I don't know. So the day finally arrives. I actually ended up cutting way closer than I thought because classes were supposed to end 2 weeks before, but I didn't realize that semester I had classes that had finals way late. And so I finished my last final, and the night before my surgery, which I had in the morning, I had to drive back home. And actually, this is I can't believe this happened. I was crying already because I was freaking terrified. It was late at night. I was in the middle of nowhere on this huge hill. It's a very steep hill, and I just kind of let the car roll, and I got pulled over. First and only time I've ever been pulled over. And yeah. So the cop gets there. I'm already in tears. He tells me it's gonna be okay, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, well, it's my first time. I don't even have a warning on my record. Like, I'm sure I'll be fine or whatever. Just trying to pull myself together because, again, I'm more focused on the fact that I have, you know, my surgery in the morning. And during this whole time too, I was doing my Cabins of Christmas series, and so I was just so stressed. I had so much on my plate, and I definitely wasn't making it easier on myself with that series, but what can you do, you know? And the cop comes back and he's like, okay, I gave you a ticket for 5 over. And just for the record, it was a place that I guess was apparently 65. I thought it was 70 miles per hour. He said he caught my car going at 85. So it kind of was serious. Again, it was such a huge steep hill and there was absolutely nobody around. So, go away. I don't know. Why is it such a big deal? I wasn't hurting anybody. And this cop too, I didn't see him because he was down in the ditch. And anyways, he comes up and he's like, I can't put this any lower. You're getting a ticket for 5 over. And I was like, shoot, okay, whatever. Like, I was sobbing at this point, so I wasn't really in my negotiation mood. And then he's like, I asked how much the ticket is, and he's like, oh yeah, it's gonna be $150. $150 for 5 over? I don't even have a warning on my record. Why are you giving me a ticket in the first place? Like, I get technically, in his view, I was 20 over. In my view, I was 15 over. But also, it's not like I was, like, gassing it down a populated street road. Like, anyways, I ended up being nailed with this ticket, and I had to pay it. And yes, I actually, didn't have any money to eat for 2 weeks. But that was after, like, I paid it a month later, whatever. So I get home, I'm freaking exhausted and upset and stressed because I got this ticket. First ever ticket. I have driven the exact speed limit ever since because that is way too much money. Like, way too much money. And it jacks up your insurance and stuff, which luckily they did like a deal with me where if I just paid it and didn't get any more traffic citations, they would let it off my record. So it actually didn't impact my credit score, but I was scared it would. Anyways, super stressed, wake up the morning of, and my dad and my sister drive me to go get my teeth forcibly removed from my face. It's so violent. And we get there and I'm freaked out. And I've had issues with, like, especially around that time, my anxiety was getting really bad. And I didn't find out till a month after this, but I apparently have moderate to severe asthma. And the city where I went to school has horrible air quality. And that was, like, making my anxiety 10 times worse. And I would consistently have asthma attacks, but because I was already anxious, I thought it was anxiety attacks. My school therapist told me it was anxiety attacks, and I actually got so bad to the point I started having, like, psychosis episodes. So I was also scared this, like, the anesthetic and the meds they put you on after was going to send me into freaking psychosis. So, like, I did not have a lot going for me. I was stressed, and hold on, I want to go sleep because, like, I don't want to deal with creepers. Yeah, we get there, and I am, like, freaking out of my mind. I was crying, and everyone was, like, telling me, no, this place is so great. Like, it's a great dentist. All my kids got their teeth out here. It was totally fine, and blah, 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 blah. No, I'm so stressed. And I remember sitting in the lobby like my whole body was buzzing because I was that anxious, and I had my head between my knees, just like sat down on this bench, and it was taking every ounce of self-control I had to not sprint out of that building and down the street. When I tell you that's how strong my fight or flight was, I just wanted to get out of there. And I mean, yeah. So yeah, that was a whole moment. We finally get there. I voiced my concerns to the doctor. He decides he's going to just put me on ibuprofen and Tylenol after the surgery, so I don't have to deal with, I guess they really give some type of opioid to people getting their wisdom teeth out, which is crazy to me, because it was pretty manageable with like a ton of ibuprofen for me afterwards. But yeah, I don't know. They put me on a mixture of some type of anesthetic. I forget what they called it. It's not normal anesthetic for regular surgery and stuff. And they were going to do a little dose, and then if it was fine, they were going to put me like all the way in. But it was weird because this anesthesia they were telling me about was interesting because it didn't, how did they describe it to me? They said when they put you under, it would have, like, I was still responsive, and if they talked to me, like, I would respond, and I could do things, like, if they asked me to open my mouth wider, but I wasn't awake. It was just, like, my conscious was gone, but the parts of my brain that functioned to hear and, like, react and do things wasn't. Like, I don't know. That was weird, and honestly, when they described that to me, that did not make me feel any better about it, but, you know, I look away, they put my IV in, I've had to get my blood drawn a couple more times actually because of other things, but no, I always hate it, but it was okay. Honestly, I actually don't even remember feeling it go into my skin like I usually do because I was just so panicked. And then I don't remember anything after that. It's very calm. And the next thing I remember is... Wow, what is the next thing I remember? This actually is so weird now that I think back on it. Like, people told me stuff and so about what I did, but I didn't remember a lot of it. Apparently, when they were bringing me back too, they talked to me for 30 minutes straight. And it's so weird because I would bring up like old interests from like years ago, or just I talk about things that I just don't tell people about. Not because it's secretive, I just don't. Like, I watch a lot of exploring abandoned places things, and I've always thought it was cool, but I've never thought about doing it myself because I was, you know, too scared, whatever. But apparently I was talking about how awesome it was and how I wanted to go do it. I don't know. Do other things. Oh, the first thing I remember is I remember the doctor coming back in, and I thought I had just woken up at this point. And honestly, this was the most relaxed I have ever been. I'm pretty sure one of the drugs they put me on, they were telling me it was like a mixture of things, but I remember fentanyl was in there, and I just remember thinking, like, fentanyl is so good. Guys, do not do drugs. Do not do drugs. I have never touched drugs since this incident, I guess. And, but I do remember, like, it's actually crazy, especially at that point, living without anxiety. I was so relaxed. It was so nice. The doctor comes in and he asks me to sing him a song. So I start singing Thank You by Dito, and it actually was like a... Actually, maybe I'll put the video in here. Like, I was pretty good. Like, I won't even lie.
That is awesome.
And I remember it was a different kind of relaxation, because usually, like, it's different from, like, if you get drunk. Because if you get drunk, you could panic about being drunk. Or, like, you know, I haven't really tried other substances, but I'd imagine it's the same thing where I hear about, like, some of my friends who've done them will panic. This is new. The light shooting through the leaves. I've never noticed that in the shadow before. Anyways, if you could hear a door slamming in the background, it's because I live at home now. But where's the next victim? Where's the next tree? This one. This is beautiful, actually. This is really pretty. I vaguely remember trying to stand up and walk down the stairs, because I also have a severe phobia of elevators, which, yeah, you'll know if you watch, like, my playthrough of Resident Evil, and they tried to take me down an elevator in a wheelchair, and I was not having it, and I was panicking, and apparently I was trying to, like, stand up and just throw myself down the stairs. I don't know. And I don't really remember a lot. Oh, I totally got off this tangent that I was on, but when my friends tell me about their substance things, it sounds like you can realize where you are when you're under the influence of a substance and then panic because you realize you're not in control. And this did not feel like that at all. This was pure relaxation, and the part of me that would have cared about not being able to control myself also was out of commission, which, like, drinking doesn't do, you know? And so yeah, I got home and apparently I requested to watch The Shining, and I fell asleep for most of it. I remember when I started waking up, I realized we were watching it and we were almost through it, and I was kind of sad, but I was just relaxed because I was starting to come to at this point. And it took, actually, it's funny, a lot of people say you just sleep it off. I didn't sleep a week after those first, like, maybe 2 hours. Watching The Shining. The Shining is my favorite movie right now, so it has been for like a year, I think. Ooh, good. We've gathered so much logs. This is great. Oh, there's so much oak mixed in over here. Let's switch spots. But yeah, and the healing was actually, my experience was kind of annoying because I actually went back to my apartment within a couple days because I wanted to keep working on the Cabins of Christmas series I had for, you know, this channel. And it wasn't great being alone with all that pain because my roommate was gone home for the holidays. But, like, my whole computer setup and stuff was all back at my apartment. And then, my dad told me he'd bought me food. The only food he had actually gotten me was just these protein smoothies. And, like, oh my gosh, I love my dad, but he does not know how to, like, that's disgusting. I just had to live on those things for the first 2 days, and, ugh. Horrible. But they healed really well. It's actually weird because I swear there's little folds now where there used to be, like, a lump under my gums. And your tongue can't quite reach it. I don't know. I kind of hate it because food could get stuck back there sometimes. The more it's healed, the less it's gone. Weird. And it's been, you know, I think 7 months now. It's okay. It's all good now. But yeah. I actually was thinking about all this because I'm taking my sister to get her teeth out tomorrow morning. She doesn't even seem to be scared about it, so I mean, good on her, I guess. But yeah, I actually, when I was getting all my stuff together to do this video, I was trying to find my second axe. We're not getting that much dark oak, I guess, and I didn't even bring a shulker because, like, I couldn't find an empty one and stuff, but I usually just bring both axes so I don't have to go fly all the way back home to heal my axe if it gets too low. And I couldn't find this one, and I realized I was missing a pair of elytra too, and I was like, where could it have gone? Because I always, like, my valuables I always put in, like, you know, 2 places, that's it, and they weren't in either of those spots. So wait, I'll actually just show you. I think I recorded it, like, where I ended up finding them. I realized something. The only time I've ever let anybody else on this world was to let my siblings come in and, like, build a little room of their own in my castle. So this is my sister's room in my castle. It's at the top of a tower. Okay, I'm really hoping it gets here. I know I gave her this sword and this suit. I gave her this shulker, yeah. Okay, wait, no, that's an ender chest. Oh my gosh, if she put it in her ender chest, I'd be so mad. gosh. She was literally... Okay, I know I gave her this one. I kitted this one out for her. But these two, I did not give her permission to take those, bruh. Siblings really be stealing your stuff anywhere. But yeah, I mean, while we're on the topic of substances, I drank for the first time at college, and that was an experience. So, oh my gosh, it's actually kills me to think about every time. But the first time I drank was the heaviest I have ever drank, because I was with two of my good friends. They're awesome and I love them. I think at this point we'd only known each other for a month, but we had hung out a lot and we lived in the same dorm building. So, you know, naturally, we hung out a lot. And they invited me to one of their dorm parties, and this time I decided I was going to try alcohol. But I was like, I'm not going to actually drink. I just want to, like, see what it tastes like. And I remember trying, like, they made me a weird pina colada with just really cheap vodka. I think it was like Svedka or something. And like, I don't think pina coladas are supposed to be made with rum, aren't they? Like, I don't know. It was weird, but I remember it not tasting as bad as I thought it would, because with how people talked about alcohol, I thought it would be way more nasty, which granted, there are some extremely nasty alcohols out there, but yeah, this one was fine. So I was sipping on it, and unfortunately these friends were, they're extreme heavyweights, so they drink a lot, and I wouldn't say I'm a lightweight, but I'm not a heavyweight. And so I would drink something and I'd wait a bit and I'm like, I don't feel different. And getting drunk is not what I expected either, because I assumed you would feel just overall silly and your overall senses would be dampened. But I remember looking back on it, I realized I was getting definitely very buzzed, but I didn't realize it because I could still think pretty clearly up to that point. And I drank too fast as well. I don't know, it was weird because I would drink, not really feel anything, just sip a little bit more. My friends were like, okay, well, maybe you're a heavyweight if you're not feeling it. I don't know why I wasn't feeling it. I can't remember if I like ate a big meal right before or something, but over the course of an hour, I was just like sipping on drinks, and I learned later I had taken a total of 6 shots throughout that time, all in the form of drinks, mind you. And I remember everyone was just chilling, everyone was buzzed, we were all sitting on the floor of the dorm, and I remember clocking out of the conversation for a second, sitting up against the door, and I was thinking about a project that I had due that weekend, and I was thinking like, oh, I don't know, I was just thinking about what I was gonna do on it tomorrow, and then it hit me. I remember just like my body got so heavy, I slammed back against the wall, and I felt myself, like, my whole body relax, except it was like scary, and I slipped down until I was like on my side on the floor. And at this point, everyone else was also getting pretty drunk, and everyone was just chilling. Other people were laying on the floor just talking, so I don't think anyone was alarmed by me. And I remember closing my eyes and starting to drift out of consciousness, and then something scary happened. My throat got like super fuzzy is what it felt like. Like, I remember I was like in a black void, and there were colors and shapes and sensations and stuff, but then this fuzziness overtook my throat, and that's what it feels like when I have a really bad asthma attack. So I started freaking out. I jumped up, and I did have this is actually a longtime friend. I'm actually gonna go hang out with her later today, but she was at the party and she was staying sober. Which is also, I think, why I decided to start drinking anyways. Because I knew she'd be there and she'd have my back. And all my other friends would also have my back, even though they were all drunk as well. And as soon as I started panicking, I realized, like, holy shit, there's no way out of this. Like, I'm stuck here. I have to ride it through. This feels like physical torture. I start freaking out. All my bodily sensations are freaking me out. and it takes everything in me, but I try to stand up, I can't. I'm on my hands and knees, and my sober friend is at the other side of the dorm, and it's like a long rectangle. And so I just make a beeline for her crawling. But except I'm going through everybody's little circles. I think there's 2 or 3. So I cut through them all, and I just collapse with my hand on her ankle. Then everyone realizes I'm not cool. And yeah, at this point, I black out. The next thing I remember is I'm kind of wobbly on my knees. There's 2 people, one on either side, holding me up, and they sent me back into a beanbag. Someone pulls my hair up and ties it back. Another person is trying to get me to drink water, but I keep laughing into the water and it gets everywhere. And they all call me, they're asking me if I'm okay, whatever. I have freaking fantastic friends, guys. And yeah, after a second, like, everything from this point on is like a slideshow. Like, it just comes in fragments. I remember them really trying to get a ton of water through me. I don't remember if they did. I remember they pulled blueberries out of their fridge, and they're like, look, these taste amazing when you're drunk. And they give you a blueberry, and I remember biting it, and like, I don't know what it was, but in my mind's, or when I closed my eyes, everything was black, and every sensation was a different shape and color that would mix around in my head. And I never drank this. I haven't drinking this heavy since. Like, I would get kind of buzzed, borderline drunk, but never to the point where I couldn't walk, because I would get very floppy, you know, at this point. And I never got to the point where I was seeing colors like that again, but it was strange. And when I bit into this blueberry, there was just like an explosion of colors. It was insane. And yeah, what else do I remember? It was just, you know, I wouldn't say it was a blur, but it was like snippets from there on. There's one point I was super into just like life drawing, like on trains and in public spaces, which I still like it, but I don't do it as much anymore. And so I remember everything just being so beautiful. Everything was so gorgeous. I mean, I remember telling people how beautiful they were, and I remember looking at them, and everyone was just gorgeous. And I actually learned this as I would drink later with my friends and party. I am a drunk kisser. That's actually, I quit after a while, because that was part of the reason, because I don't know, everybody is just so gorgeous. It's so, I don't know, I asked people to give me a pen and paper because I was going to draw them, and actually I still have the drawing. I'll put a picture in here. I'm actually impressed, because even though could barely control my hands, like, I still see it. I still see what I was trying to do. I think in the drawing, I had my best friend, she had little space buns, which actually made it in the drawing. And she was a sober one. She was sitting right by me, holding me up. And then I had 2 of my other friends, and they were like holding my legs and like talking to me. I don't know. And we were all just like sitting on the floor of the dorm room, and I don't know. It was funny. I remember at some point, I actually do remember this, at some point we were walking down the dorm hall for something, I don't know. It's probably more water. And they did tell me, my friends actually, that they almost got caught, because as soon as I collapsed, everybody who was drunk just panicked and ran to get water all at the same time. So we had a million cups of water because no one was realizing what everybody else was doing. And because they all ran out of the room at the same time, someone almost reported them for, like, I don't know, there being an emergency or something, because everyone was so panicked getting water. But I'm so lucky to have like such good friends and people. That was so fun. And when I got sober, I actually realized I totally forgot what I was talking about. Oh yeah, I just realized it wasn't, even though I totally trust my friends and stuff, it wasn't safe, like, being in that thing, and it makes me highly uncomfortable to think I was that vulnerable around people. It actually did kind of like teach me a lot about my fears around people, because I was like, in my head, for sure, if I'm ever that out of control, people are not going to be nice to me and they're going to hurt me, blah blah blah. But the fact that I did have good people who would take care of me kind of like healed some part of me a little bit. I don't know, even though I will never do that again on purpose, and I never have ever gotten that drunk again. Yeah, I mean, what else is there to say about this? I'm trying to think about what other fractions of my fractured thoughts I have from this experience. I don't know. It's crazy. I guess let's head back to the castle at this point. I would like to get more. I didn't realize we'd gathered this all so fast. I've just been so into my stories. But I don't have a ton of time. I have to do other stuff today. You know what I always realize? I always have my coordinates to get here, and then I always forget how to get back. Whatever. I actually made a video when I was starting to be a little less drunk about... Oh, there's where I get my spruce. But I think it's about... actually opened my eyes to like how I felt about myself. As funny as that sounds, because like I was like saying like... I was talking to my future self and saying that, like, I knew future me was going to be embarrassed with how I was acting, but I was just so free, and I love myself, and I even loved the part of myself that was going to be embarrassed of me, of drunk me in that moment. Like, does that make any sense? I don't know. But it's so weird. It actually kind of made me realize that I'm really unfair to myself sometimes. Should we go heal our elytra? While we're here, right? But yeah, this is like the little farm setup that keeps this whole world running, I suppose. Woo. Anyways, I think that's enough for this video. I will see you in the next one. Bye!